Boston Scientific is putting $138 million into Plainfield, and the detail buried in the announcement tells a completely different story than the headline. That is the first story. The second, a $1.2 billion domestic rare earth magnet plant just got announced, and if you supply the EV drivetrains or defense motors industry anywhere in Indiana, the clock on your Chinese sourcing dependency just got shorter. Two announcements today. Let's get into it. On June 3rd, Governor Braun announced that Boston Scientific will invest approximately $138 million to build a 500,000 square foot facility at the Plainfield Innovation Park in Hendricks County, up to 300 new jobs. Groundbreaking expected later this year. Here's what the headline missed. The IEDC release describes the facility as including light manufacturing and necessary processes and operations for regulatory compliance. Interesting. That phrase is unusual for a pure distribution build. It suggests Boston Scientific is preserving optionality to hold FDA establishment registration at Plainfield, which would let the site take on kit assembly, labeling, or relabeling work over time. We don't yet know the specific QMS scope. That's what to watch for at groundbreaking. If Plainfield earns FDA establishment registration, it creates a compliance dependency between the two Indiana sites, Plainfield and the Spencer campus, 40 miles away, which produces single-use endoscopy and urology scopes. That means product line additions and assembly operations can migrate to Plainfield without a separate facility announcement. The $300 job headline could be the floor, not the ceiling. And this is a strategic control play. Boston Scientific cut its 2026 sales guidance in April, citing electrophysiology, Watchman, and urology headwinds. Building-owned distribution and light manufacturing capacity gives the company tighter control over global fulfillment and regulatory scope at a moment when it's under pressure to defend margins. Whether it ultimately displaces 3PL volume, including MD Logistics, Plainfield footprint, is an open question worth watching. Plainfield Town Council President Robin Brandgard called it transformational for the bio heartland. Watch the groundbreaking announcement for any disclosure of FDA establishment registration. That is the tell. Now, this next story lands in South Carolina, but its implications run straight through Indiana. Oklahoma-based USA Rare Earth will invest $1.2 billion in a magnet and refined rare earth metals production facility at Bailey Industrial Park in Blacksburg, South Carolina, targeting approximately 6,400 tons per year of NdFeB magnets and around 5,000 tons per year of strip cast metal, with commissioning targeted around 2028. NdFeB magnets are the permanent magnets inside EV drive motors, defense actuators, and industrial automation equipment. Right now, the dominant global supply is Chinese. USA Rare Earth's Blacksburg plant enters a domestic race alongside MP Materials, Fort Worth facility, and Arnold Magnetic Technologies in Marengo, Illinois. But Indiana buyers should assume an additional 12 to 24 months of OEM qualification on automotive and defense programs after commissioning. The realistic timeline for designed-in domestic NdFeB at scale is closer to 2029 or 2030, which is still the most concrete domestic alternative currently on the board. For Indiana EV drivetrain and defense motor suppliers, that timeline matters for contract planning. There's a second caveat. USA Rare Earth's own filing note, the $1.2 billion build-out is contingent on expected government financing. Until those public funding commitments are formally confirmed, the 2028 commissioning target and the 490 planned jobs carry execution risk. Meanwhile, Cushman & Wakefield's Waypoint 2026 report releases the same week, flagged Indianapolis specifically as one of the markets where industrial supply and demand are coming back into alignment. Nationally, the report projects tenant-favorable markets to fall from 52% in 2026 to 33% by 2029. Indianapolis is on the leading edge of that tightening. If you're negotiating central Indiana distribution space in the next 12 to 24 months, the leasing leverage you have today will not last. Map your rare earth exposure now. Don't wait for domestic supply to go live to discover your contract won't let you redirect your sourcing. Here's where today's two threads ultimately meet. Indiana's manufacturing footprint is being reshaped at the infrastructure and supply chain layer, not through headline grabbing production announcements, but through compliance, designations, sourcing dependencies, and logistics market tightening that most plant leaders won't feel until the window has already closed. Don't let that happen to you. Three things to take into your next morning huddle. First, if you have medtech or life sciences customers in your pipeline, get someone tracking Plainfield's FDA registration status. That's where future production activity migrates. Second, pull your motor and drivetrain supplier contracts today and identify which components depend on Chinese origin rare earth magnets and whether those contracts give you the flexibility to redirect them when the domestic supply chain comes online in the 2029 to 2030 window. Third, if you're negotiating or expanding any distribution or warehousing footprint in central Indiana in the next 12 to 24 months, move faster. Cushman & Wakefield is telling you the favorable window is closing. Now, I don't run a manufacturing facility. I am the CEO of Tactical Energy Group, an Indiana-based energy management technology provider, and I believe one of the most important things I can possibly do is stay on top of all the dynamics that affect the economics of making things in Indiana so we can consistently improve the solutions we're bringing to the manufacturing community. So, what is TEG Daily, this manufacturing news brief? Well, I'm tracking the essential developments and I'm bringing them to you, and I do genuinely hope that they're useful to you. So share this brief with your team and subscribe to get daily updates just like this one. Thanks for watching.